All right, guys, I am back, and this is where the camper lays now. Let's see, how much does this thing weigh? Total weight as we sit right now, 414 pounds. I think that's pretty good. My initial goal setting out on this build was a total dry weight, which would be minus water and the battery, or the solar charger, or the power bank, I should say, sorry, coming in at 650 pounds. We're sitting at, what did I say, 414 right now. I think I'm going to be able to make it. I was kind of hoping maybe I might come in a little below, and I suppose that's possible, but at a minimum right now, I think I will make it. But still, 414 pounds, and as you guys can see, the vast majority of the bulk of the main construction of the body is in place. Still have some components to add, which will add some weight. All the windows. I'm going to use the flexible solar panels on the top of the roof, which I've been using the last couple builds. I like those. Those don't weigh a lot, but then, some of the internal appliances, the AC unit. Believe it or not, the entire door, which I've already got made over here, minus insulation, weighed only, how much did the door weigh? I think I saw it was 13 pounds. Let me double check here. Yeah, this is 13 pounds. That's without the window or insulation. So probably by the time I put the window in there and all that kind of stuff, we'll be sitting around 20 or so. But yeah, it's coming along. Right now, this is wide angle, so it might be just a little weird looking here. This is what it looks like from the inside. So last time we left off, I had gotten the cab over floor in, and I had pretty much finished up the framing. I think seeing it now from the inside, you guys can see a better perspective here. As these things go, there's a couple changes that are going to be made. I was going to put the vent fan there, but I'm going to actually put it right there in the middle, so just a little over to the right, but I have not framed that out. I'll get to that later. This foam board is bonded to the roof to give it strength. Hope it's visible here, but this foam board actually was this part of the beam here actually comes out a little bit, and the foam board actually sits behind it in there. And when I attached down the roof on it, it actually had a nice clamping force. This thing is rock solid, and the roof is rock solid up there. I've been crawling up and down there. Like I've done on other builds, I do little standoffs for the solar, because I know the flexible solar panels in particular are, as I understand it, and I've experienced, are subject to breaking down in the heat and stopping the work. I've had good luck though since I've been doing standoffs. It's gonna look like a mess up here. I'm still sanding up some stuff, but the panels will actually mount to these stringers here, and that will set the panels about a ½ inch off the roof. I know it looks like a mess. Bear with me, guys. It's we even got a little bug friend there. What do we got? How you doing, buddy? He's just hanging out. All right. So I did a couple things different when I attached the 1/4 inch ply to the walls here. Just as a side note, if you guys are seeing all this stuff, right now I'm in the phase where I'm putting in the body filler, filling in imperfections and staple holes and small little deviations in the wall. And so that's still a work in process. You guys can see some of the filler that was on the AC cover there that I haven't even sanded off yet. But I'll talk about how I put on these walls. So the adhesive I use here is just Loctite PL3, pretty well known and readily available construction adhesive. I've used that in the past. I really like it. It's not the strongest, but it's not the weakest. It's a nice middle ground of strength and cost. And I'll switch around while I talk to you guys. I think I can do that. Maybe I can't. Anyways, so if you guys haven't used that before, it has a consistency of kind of like peanut butter. And I'll actually spread it out on the frame kind of thick. And then, so for example, this whole wall here was nearly a perfect fit for a sheet of 4x8 plywood. I did, it was only about 45 inches tall, so I had to trim off about 3 inches on the top. And from the seam, which you could see way up there by that window, back, oh gosh, what was it? I think it was about 90 inches or something. Yeah, I believe it was, or was that straight 96? Maybe it was 96 inches. Maybe it was a straight full sheet. Anyways, so I was able to get most of that side in one piece, which is what I ideally like to do. But I had that construction adhesive on there pretty thick, and then I actually take that piece, that plywood, and lightly press it on there. And what it does, at least in my experience from what I saw there, is it kind of gives you a little bit of very, very minor adjustment in terms of making sure everything is flat and smooth. Now, obviously, your first step to making, I guess my point is this will be painted. And when it is, if you have any waviness or imperfections in the wall, they tend to show up a lot easier. So you really, really want to work hard to make sure that this wall board, or essentially everything on this camper, goes on nice, even, and flat. The first step to that I found is making sure your frame is nice and square, making sure that all the columns are vertical to each other and so forth. But then putting on that construction adhesive and the flexibility that it offers in terms of being real thick gives you just a little bit of room just to kind of play with it. And then, believe it or not, this will seem odd to a lot of you guys, is I did not even use, I used maybe 5 screws to attach all of this to these sides. I actually picked up a new tool, which I'm a little embarrassed to admit I didn't even know existed, and that was the 1/4 inch narrow crown staple, which is fast turning into one of my favorite fasteners. This one's 1.5 inches. So it's a staple. It's got 2 sides. The 1/4 inch refers to the gap between the 2 sides. Obviously, this is was that about 4 or 5 of them stuck together there, I think, if I can't even see clearly. But I use this all around to attach that 1/4 inch plywood to the panel on the side. And I did that because my thought process was this: with the screw, when you screw it down, it pulls that wood real tight against the frame, which generally speaking is, it's something that you want to shoot for. But like I said, knowing how important it is to make sure that everything is level and smooth, I didn't want something that had quite as much force. So that's where I went with that narrow crown stapler. Now, that's not to say that this plywood is not tight against the frame. I don't want to give that impression. It just means by just a very small fractions, it just allows me a little bit of movement flexibility. In terms of strength, I mean, this wood will never come off. I mean, that if you guys haven't used one of those 1/4 inch narrow crown staplers, it really, really, really holds really well, very strong. And then you couple that with the construction adhesive, and these walls are, this is permanent. You'll never, I mean, unless you I mean, this thing will never come apart, so I'm not worried about that sidewall popping off there. Okay, so prepping the sides. I know it looks like a mess right now, guys. That's just how it looks. All right, what do we got going here? All right, so before I have used a Bondo body filler, I guess is what you'd call it. It's typically a blue color. I really liked it. I just liked how it came out. I liked how you could apply it. And I was hunting around and I see that the brand Bondo makes a wood filler. So I went ahead and bought some. And basically, it feels just like the Bondo. It performs just like it, except for it's a, it's kind of that brownish, kind of a, well, I guess you could say kind of like a wood color. Let's open this up. So, according to the packaging on this, this is meant to fill wood. It's paintable, sandable, permanent, non-shrinking. Is it the same formula as a regular body filler, just they've made it brown? I don't know. It feels like it. I'll show you guys kind of the consistency here. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand. It's turning into a bit of a mess, isn't it? There we go. All right. So you guys can see that's the consistency. I've used about 2 of these cans. Well, I've used 1 can, and then I'm, like, as you guys can see, I'm probably about 3/4 of the way finished with this one. But that's the consistency, and of course you mix it with a hardener, which you just add just a little bit. And then I just take scrap pieces of, since I'm using a lot of 1/4 inch ply and I have a lot of scrap, I will spread it out on there. And then these yellow spread sticks, I don't even bother trying to clean them. They're relatively inexpensive. I'll just buy big packs of them on Amazon. And usually, you know, you'll apply the body, you'll be working on one side, for example, and you'll apply the body filler, and you usually do it in small quantities because it dries pretty quick. And then I'll do a couple batches, you know, spread it out on whatever I'm working on, and then I'll just toss the wood in that little applicator there. It's just, to me, it's not worth it to try to clean them and everything. That's just me, though. Everyone's might see something different. So let's talk about style. I am really happy. Now, I will caveat one thing, is that we are looking at this in the garage. You guys are seeing this in a wide angle, so it's going to be slightly distorted. And we're looking at this at a relatively level plane. We have to put in perspective that when this is on a truck, it's going to sit, I think the bed of my truck is about 31 or 32 inches high, if I recall correctly. So this thing will be in the air, you know, let's say 30 inches. And, you know, so you're actually going to be looking up at it, you know, I don't know, something more like that. So I do this all the time. I look at it and kind of evaluate the shape and angle of these campers in the garage. But the truth be known is you're not really going to be able to get a good sense for what it looks like until it's finished and out and on the truck. But nonetheless, I still kind of daydream and imagine and look at it. And I'm liking what I see here. We talked about these, or I talked about in the past how this front leading edge here. So this the bed of the the cab of the truck is going to be in this little area underneath the cab over here, of course. And I added this little feature. So this actually, you know, this is the back wall. So this actually is back into the body of the camper a little bit, as you can see there. So perceptually, so one thing from a style sense is the cab over, and I do it for aerodynamics and aesthetics in other regards, compared to most traditional truck campers, is still relatively short. I think this one is, let's say, 60 inches long. I think it might technically be 59. I'll have to measure it. Don't quote me on those measurements there. But perceptually, it's a pretty small cab over compared to the body. Now, the body of this one is nearly a foot shorter than my other ones. All right, sorry guys, had a little interruption there, but back to where I am. Keep in mind this is wide angle, so it looks a little weird, but anyways, I think where I was going with all that conversation is, you know, the cab over is relatively short, but that little angle in, who knows, maybe it might have some aerodynamic benefit, but I think you'll give a little bit more style and give a little bit more of the illusion that the cab over and the main body are a similar size. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. I'm just kind of putting through, but to me, I'm really liking how it's coming together. And this thing is super strong right now. Is just a kind of a boring part of the build, because I'm probably at this point, I've spent more time you know, putting in the body filler and making sure everything is smooth and even on the outside body than I have actually installing the skin of the camper on there. So it's somewhat of a disheartening stage, because you know, you're just putting, literally for me, tens of hours of work now just making sure everything is right. But all of that prep should pay off when I apply the coating on this, and hopefully everything will be nice, smooth, level, and without any significant imperfections. I'm going to talk about this in greater detail later, but what I will do with the coating on this is I'm going to apply 2 coats of it, and I'm going to let it fully dry. I'll take about 6 days, I believe the manufacturer says, and then I am going to slide this thing outside in natural sun, or at natural light, and I will examine every single inch of it and note any imperfections, and then I will correct those, and then I will apply the second final coat, 2 coats, you know, like I said, 6 days or a week later. Is that a lot of work? Yes. But what it will do is it will give me, the bottom line is you could go over this entire camper 10 times and there will always be something that you miss. There will always be a little staple hole that you got to fill in, or there will always be, I mean, I'll just keep it real with you guys. Like all of these seams right here, and don't try to in the camera, you're not going to be able to in this level detail, but yeah, these are not perfectly straight. It's just nearly impossible to get these 100% perfect. They're good. I've spent a long time smoothing them out and trying to make everything as straight and square as possible, but they're not perfect. I think they're good enough to where they will not be perceptible when the final coat is on there, but you know, me having it in my mind that I will apply the coating on this in essentially 2 separated segments. It's a lot of work, but it will allow me the opportunity to make sure that the finish and the body work on this camper, so to speak, is perfect, or nearly, or perceptually perfect, maybe is a better way to say it. I don't know if any of you guys have ever painted a car or something, particularly if it's an older antique car where it's, you know, maybe seen some miles, for those fine finishes. And this is not quite that level of detail, but, you know, that's kind of the same concept. You're going through any imperfection, anything, you want to make it, prep it 100% here. I'm without exaggeration, when this is done, I'll probably spend about 30 to 40 hours of just prepping this body. It will take me a couple hours to apply the finish. So it's just funny how things like that work. I don't want to get too wrapped up on the interior here. But as I am working on this, you know, I'm always thinking about the next steps. So I'm thinking about the interior. And I'm going to change it up a little bit. The fridge is going to be there. The heart of the power system here will be this power bank, or formerly known as solar charge controllers there. And it will sit in this corner. There'll be a little cabinet there, and yeah, we don't need to get too much into it, but the fridge will be here. You have a little L-shaped seating area, cab over up there. But yeah, I'm very pleased. This angled part there that runs along the side, I'm just so pleased with that worked out. I mean, I mean, this thing is still very roomy in here. I was a little worried that making it short would give it, but no, I think this thing is gonna This thing is going to be very nice. Very nice. So, all right, guys, I'll check in a little bit. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys understanding me take a break. Do get all kinds of questions about some of the content that I've taken down on the channel, and the bottom line is I probably won't come back. In every video from this point on, I kind of want to change the format and how it comes out, and I've been trying to figure out ways to kind of resurrect the old videos, and there's no way. I know for most of you that probably makes no sense, and that's fine. It's just you know, the way it is. So I just kind of want to do these less from a how-to perspective and more from just a vlog perspective, or another way of saying it's kind of like a video diary, and just talk about what I'm doing. I don't want to present this in any kind of educational format. So you guys can watch it and do with the information as you may, but I'm just presenting this as though, you know, just a video diary essentially. So thanks for watching, guys.